خاتشيشيمي. استراحة الآن.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in. I hope you're all doing fantastically for Storks versus 9G. Everyone is already in the server and already ready to go, so it's all on me to do the dice rolls. Let's make sure this all works. Caucuses only today, so it's 1 out of 6. 3, 2, 1, go. And it is number 2. I'll switch over the map, which is Clear Midday Sochi versus Mozdok. So, mission restart. True, and of course let me get some music happening in the background, and we need to do the coin flip as well. But give me 1 second just to double check who picked which side of the coin. Oh, it's always a little bit tricky to get started. I'm glad to see that we've got some fans here. Okay. And it was the Storks that picked heads, so heads is number 1. The Storks picked the starting side. Awesome. How are you guys all going today? What have you been up to? There we go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So how is everyone feeling? Are you having a good day today? What are you excited for? Are you here to support 9G or are you here to support Storks? This is a great map too. This is one of the classics, so you guys will be in for a treat while I make sure that everything is connected in the back end and you guys get to stop looking at little old me and you guys get to look at how everything is going. And of course, a big shout out to Master Arms Servers appearing in the chat right now. Supporters of SATAC, and of course we'll be playing on Master Arms Servers as we speak. Better support you couldn't ask for. Which reminds me, I need to get someone to send me a raw video file of the Master Arms Servers trailer. And the Storks have picked the red side, so let's take a look at the playing field. Make sure that everything's working here, and I have TAC View connected in the background. We do. Perfect. Over on the red side, let's see who we have got. 9G because of market recognition. Well, let's start a poll here, and we've got plenty of time to run it. Appearing on your screens shortly will be a poll for round 1. And now you supporting Storks. 9G. Give you 10 minutes to vote on that one. I'm sure that you guys are all having a good Friday. Hopefully it's already the weekend for you. Oh my goodness. Some of these names are in Cyrillic. 310 here. I'm going to say ESOL, Crim, SFSR, SONTS, but 113 and 310. I need someone to help me with this. How do I say this? Who are these guys? Good opportunity to learn a little bit, I think. Meanwhile, over on the 9G side, we have Aggressor, Grey Goo, Hanslau, Altaman, Velike, and Yark has some very recognizable names and some very talented pilots there. I have no doubt you have flown with or against some of these people before in your life, and if you spent any time on multiplayer, I think you'll recognize these faces. They all very capable, very competent, very exciting combatants. Well, I figured, considering the teams that we had fighting today, it would only be appropriate to play some music. Sonar and Fish. P-S-I-H. I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. Esol means donkey. Oh, I see, I see. Hello, Mustang. Hello, Spade. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. So, Esol here. Donkey. I do really hope that you guys will take the time to check out Master Arms Servers as well. The organisers and staff are really, really friendly and definitely worthy of your time, as are all of the sponsors of SATAC. Like Decker Ironworks, always been a pleasure to have them on board. So it looks like we have F-18s and F-16s in equal measure for the Storks. Meanwhile, over on the blue team for 9G, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 F-16s and 2 F-18s, so a decent mix. Hornets are going to fly the floor with Vipers. Are you sure, though? The Viper tends to be one of the most popular fighters in all of SATAC. And if the Hornet was for sure better, then, I don't know. I will very kindly ask you guys, if you don't mind, to try and keep the chat in English, because I have no capacity for moderating any of the languages otherwise. But welcome in, everyone. I hope you're having a very good day. And right on time, we have Hanslau slotting into position the 6th for 9G, with Aggressor, Grey-Goo, Ultiman, Velike, and Yarkaz taking up the vanguard. And it looks like the members of the Storks are coming in. So this one that looks like COHAP, is that, sonar? And then, this one would be Plish. Plish. Sheesh. Isn't Stork the bird that brings babies? Yes, it is. And also the title of a surprising... Ooh, hello. Ooh, ooh. Okay. I can't wait. The title of a somewhat underrated Andy Samberg animated film that I quite liked. SATAC with their show on the mic, what could be better? Oh, look, me being able to read, me not messing up all of the server settings, me not forgetting to turn on the delay, me not forgetting, you know, there are a bunch of things that could change. Just check out everyone's loadout, see what they've got. Nothing surprising from the Hornets. Nothing surprising from the Falcons. Psycho. Okay. Crunchy SU-30, yep. Ah, no, I quite like the way that this looks when they don't put the wing tanks on and they just single pylon the F-18. I do wonder what a performance improvement that actually gives. Okay, both teams ready. Record time. Both teams ready. Get set. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go. I think that might be one of the fastest starts that I can remember. No 9G liveries? Oh shoot, that's a good point. Something has gone wrong here. And in fact, I can fix it right now. Okay, we'll put this... Yeah, perfect. Just carry triple bags. Alright, what I'm going to do is I am going to quickly center the action on attack view. So Cool. And I can just quickly make sure that those liveries actually work. Will there be a SATAC 80s this year? There should be. Well, actually, that's a question for the organisers, whose information will be showing up in chat. And in fact, I'll provide it for you, so... Here's the information for SATAC. Worth signing up so that you can become familiar with all of the goings-on that they have. Cannot confirm nor deny anything just yet. So it looks like a pretty standard spread for the Storks, with SONTS and SFSR being the first ones out the gate. Meanwhile, the formation for 9G is Velike and Yarkaz leading the way. Then Aggressor and Grey Goo following along behind. And Handslayer, the last one to take off. While Altaman looks like to be the one that's assigned to go up high. As we see that drop tank. Already discarded. How far away from the runway? 14 nautical miles. That's all a centerline tank gets you in an F-16. So, still nearly 170 nautical miles to go before anyone interacts with each other, but we can get an interesting look at the terrain. From the pilot's perspective. Can you confirm rumors about SATAC being one of the coolest DCS competitions ever? Ooh, I don't know. Is that a bird or a plane? No, it's Altaman. You know it. And welcome back. Sorry about that, but had to get 9G's skins working because everyone deserves to have their liveries shown. And let's have a look. Spectacular. Shiny and chrome on the Fury Road. I do like it when they put the shiny texture on planes. That does look cool, doesn't it? What does that remind me of? I don't know. It looks like the record-setting Strike Eagle that they built. In fact, what was the record-setting plane called? The one where they stripped off all the paint from it and it was just set there to set speed records. There are some shiny liveries, in fact. If we get to see the Bushido fighter group at some stage, they've got some really shiny liveries. Pure silver. SFSR and SONTS leading the way, with Psycho following on behind. With Krim and Esol, or Donkey, around about 30,000 feet, and Sonar heading to the north in the Hornet. Any Abomination loadouts? Not yet. In fact, everyone's looking really cool in their Hornets today. Some people think the Hornets are pretty boring looking aircraft, but I don't know, I like it. I like the look of the Legacy Hornet with the circular intakes more than the Super Hornet. Looks more organic and bug-like, you know? No, not the V-Stol. It's the, someone will know. Hornet with wing tanks? Well, some of them are bringing wing tanks and some of them aren't. How many AIM-120s can a Hornet carry? Or is it allowed to in the rules? In the rules, it can only carry 4. In game, I think it can carry 8 on the wings, 2 on the belly, so 10. That's right, it's the Streak Eagle. Velike drops the centerline tank. Look at these battle lines, man. Look at how clean this is, dude. This is so clean. These... Oh, man. I can't believe it. There's these teams... I mean, I've got a list of the nationalities here. Storks, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and 9G from Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. Firstly, what a wonderful example of how these kinds of events can bring people together. And how competitions like SATAC exist outside of whatever political goings-on worry us. But they're disciplined. Russian teams and teams from the Eastern Europe, they're disciplined and they train really hard. Ultiman sitting pretty at 37,000 feet, traveling 500 knots indicated. And the sound barrier didn't stand a chance as we stand in the pieces. In fact, I think he's peeling up for a long shot, and he is. The first missile off the rails. Ultiman at 42,000 feet, dumps off a 120. Looks like this one might have been towards Sons, and it looks like Sons has gotten the warning. Bringing a jamming pod, so has managed to prevent the manual the automatic loft of the AIM-120, which is why Ultiman had to shoot that one up in the sky themselves. Ultiman doesn't have anything coming in towards them at the moment, and so it's not looking like it's going to be too much of a threat. Sons notching this missile quite comfortably. I don't think this missile even has track. No, it doesn't. It's traveling at 1,800 knots and is at 62,000 feet. And there is a very small, minute chance that it might lock on to sonar here, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. Psycho and SFSR start separating off into the south, while Yarkaz and Grey Goo move to support Ultiman in the north, with Aggressor and Velike moving to meet the southern group. Sonar taking over the grind from his teammate, who's had to go defensive against the first missile of the match. Hopefully, only bringing a little bit of fuel, or afterburning for this long, doesn't ruin anyone's time, but at 33,000 feet, you can keep those engines burning for a long time. What's the total internal fuel on a Hornet? It's about 1,100 pounds? I forget. 11,000 pounds? 10,000 maybe? Looks like Psycho has fired the first missile of the southern group at about 40 nautical miles. From 48,000 feet, and its true speed is dropping quickly, but if it's heading towards Aggressor... No, it's not. It's heading towards Velike, and as a result, will be trashed. Safe to say these are some of the best pilots in DCS? I would say so. Almost 11,000? Yeah, I thought it was about 11,000. I know that once it reads like 1080 or something, that's time to punch the tanks off. The most beautiful aircraft is the Su-27. Ooh. You keep talking like that. What's your ulterior motive, huh? What do you want from me? You know I'm very susceptible to compliments. Okay, ESOL now looks like they're in a really good position to fire off their first missiles. And that's a hell of a loft on that one. ESOL fires towards the southern group. Hanslau and Ultiman respond with 2 missiles in kind, but ESOL has instantly gone defensive. Look at this absolute dump in altitude. This missile's got a lot of potential, but who's it chasing down? Looks like it might be going for Yarkaz. And Yarkaz is just going to have to cleanly notch this one into the ground. Shouldn't be the hardest thing in the world, especially with the trees down there. For some reason, I feel as if the trees notch things. Impact, no effect. The missiles fired in response, already largely trashed, except for this one, which is slowing down, but it is at 33,000 feet. But it is chasing down ESOL as opposed to Psycho. Sonce and Sonar trade shots back and forth between themselves and Velike and Aggressor at about 20 nautical miles, causing everyone to go defensive. And it looks like Psycho is lining up for a shot now. Fires off a 120 from the wings. Looks like it's a 15 nautical mile shot against Hanslau, who's already beaming the missile. This missile heading towards ESOL, out of power, as ESOL is now flying above it. Still, that'll be enough to keep you thinking. The 120 fired towards Aggressor has already slowed down to 500 knots and is no factor. ESOL in a good position now, setting up the grind and defending again. Regained all of that lost altitude and has fired towards Aggressor, who fires back. The missile fired towards Hanslau has completely lost him and is now just gone dumb. But this shot from ESOL to Aggressor, 12 nautical miles-ish, the missile will have the potential. But Aggressor, ooh, it's going to be close. Aggressor just manages to slip away from it. But it gets close. ESOL manages to get away from the one fired in response. Meanwhile, 2 AIM-120s heading towards Yarkaz and Grey Goo. Is this one heading for Yarkaz? Looks like that one might be for Grey Goo. Let's see. Is Grey Goo defending hard enough here? He is. The missile does not connect. And Yarkaz has managed to get away from theirs as well. Lots of missiles fired. No impacts just yet. How's Aggressor got to deal with here? Yet another AIM-120 that's probably just going to end up cutting down some trees. Psycho fires against Velike at 11 nautical miles from 24,000 feet. Velike is a little bit high in altitude, though. This missile going for it. Velike is going to have to turn and burn pretty quickly. ESOL, Sonar, and Sonce are merging pretty close to Yarkaz now, who is largely by themselves. We'll look at Yarkaz for a second as they launch off a 120. Traded shots in both directions at 7 nautical miles. They crisscross in the air. The one fired towards Yarkaz gets splashed into the terrain, and Sonar is completely cold against the shot towards him. Krim fires off a missile, but is at 30,000 feet, and Ultiman has just fired a missile up towards him at 7 nautical miles from 10,000 feet. This is going to be tricky to evade. But it looks like it lost track of him for a second there. Getting closer, getting closer, getting closer. Ooh, it does impact, and down goes the first member as Ultiman manages to take out Krim. And ESOL looks like they've been splashed as well. We'll have to see what happened here. Psycho and Ultiman are facing off at close range now. In the northern group, there's a merge going on there. A 120 fired towards Ultiman by SFSR. This missile with potential. Ultiman's going to have to evade this. And it looks like that one's defeated kinetically. Missiles in both directions. Looks like this one's going for Sonar with speed. Sonar's turning. And, oh, God, what are you... Okay, we might... Okay, and Psycho and Hanslauer are right next to each other. SFSR fires missiles in all directions here. Psycho managing to evade. SFSR not managing to get away from the missiles. Not as cool of a camera shot as I wanted that to be. So, it's a 3v5 at the moment. As Psycho is down to AIM-9Ms, and you can see planes all over the sky in front of him. A 120 goes straight out towards Psycho. This missile with loads of potential and managing to impact. Psycho going down. It's on Sonce, and we have Altiman, an AIM-9M coming in towards Altiman. Flares going out everywhere, managing to get away from it. Sonce managing to defend the missile as well. Sonar fires towards Velike at 6 nautical miles. Velike manages to trash that into the terrain, though. Ultiman and Sonce are merging close as, and the AIM-9M from Sonce manages to do a really high off-bore sight turn. There's an AIM-120, though, and it's heading towards Sonce. It's a friendly AIM-120. It manages to get trashed into the terrain. It is now a 4v2 as an AIM-120 chasing down Sonce. It's going to have to be evaded and explodes, dealing no damage. Sonce managing to get away quite cleverly from that one. Now Sonar and Sonce all merging together. Right up close with each other. The AIM-9s don't connect. Velike manages to take out Sonar, meaning that Sonce is the last one in a dogfight with Grey Goo and has no missiles left. He manages to get a gun hit. Takes off the left wingtip. But gets juked. The burning F-16 manages to give him the slip. As another one of all of the members of 9G now converging on this point. The damaged F-16 goes down. Sonce is on the tail of now an F-18. Who is, an F-16 rather, who's trying their darndest to get away, but the AIM-9 from Hanslauer seals the deal. And 9G. RTB. Alright. Well, that was a scrap and a half. That was tricky to keep track of. Hanslauer, Aggressor, and Velike, the last survivors of 9G. Let's go have a look at the TAC view and see if we missed anything. Okay, so, right about the time that Krim got slashed here by Ultiman, we also lost ESOL. And what happened here? Looks like ESOL was pulling some shapes to get away from defensive attacks here. AIM-120s. Coming in towards... Don't tell me that that missile at that speed managed to catch up. Okay, no it didn't. So what happens to ESOL here? What happened there? Is that a wing rip? Pulled the paddle and ripped his wings off? How am I supposed to say it, Stackhouse? I'm doing my best. But ESOL appears to disintegrate mid-flight here. SFSR managing to get absolutely pincered here by Yarkaz. And was that a very long-range shot from Hanslayer as well? How did bro die? I have no idea. Psycho. Running out of missiles here, unfortunately. Not having anything to chase down the many targets that are up ahead. A classic case of just being caught slightly too high in altitude. At 7 nautical miles, the rocket motor for the AIM 120 will just do enough to get it wherever it wants to go. Even with Crim diving at Mach 1.05, 1.1, you're not going to get away. Not without something to hide behind. Okay, and we missed Sonar's death as well. How might, you know what? Let's check something. Valik. Okay. Well, Valik is, what's the same 7 doing? Oh, okay. Valik is heading the way home. Ditched all of their munitions to conserve speed, only the AIM-9s on the wingtips because they look sick. And it has somehow become 1 billion degrees inside my room. SATAC staff and organisers are in my stream, by the way. If you are participating in the match and present during the stream at the same time, make sure you've read all the rules. Thank you for all of the support. Thank you for the follows. RetroStar, that's very kind of you for the Prime subscription as well and the on-screen celebration. Sid Wilson, KMet SMR, thank you very much. Don't forget the links to the SATAC organisers that are appearing in chat. The roll? Which roll? Oh. Let's see. Who was it? Was it Crim? Outer Man? I'm not sure who did it. Grey Goo, maybe? Let's see. No, I have no idea. I've seen rolling, and that didn't look like it, in my personal experience, but it is not my call to make. Either way, the TAC views are made available at the end of each competitive period, so in the SATAC Discord and the results channel, once the TAC views are available and have been checked by the organisers, they will be made available. Of course, if there are any foibles, there will be plenty of opportunities to interrogate results. Fortunately, of course, I'm not only streaming this event, I'm also in direct contact with Eagle Dynamics. I'm actually the person they ask whenever they have some free time and they want to solve a bug. So it's actually really helpful for everyone to list all of their personal and individual grievances with Eagle Dynamics, because I am probably the best person here to express those feelings towards, as I have direct involvement and almost complete control over this entire endeavour. There is a certain kind of rolling that is explicitly not allowed because the missile logic within DCS struggles to maintain guidance with it. The official DCS SATAC rules are available in the links that I have generously provided. I'm just having a look at the TAC view in the background to see if I can see anything. Oh, I found it. That's not Sonar's fault. That's just a desync. Let's see. 1 1000, 2 1000, 1 1000, 2 1000, 1 1000, 2 1000, 1 1000. Yeah, it's just an unfortunate desync moment. I don't think that was intentional. And it doesn't matter anyway, because 9G cinched the round, so... Yeah, I agree with you, Spade. That's what it looks like to me. I can do F11 and then Control F5, can't I? No. I used to know this command. Shift F5? No. Hey, in real life, missiles fail to work all the time, so I wouldn't worry too much about it myself. What's important to remember is that DCS as a platform is largely developed on reused code. Is he going to drop his wheels? This isn't landing. Where's the landing? Oh. Now I can understand why the bottoms of their airplanes are so shiny. Because they've ground out all the paint. Alright, so that makes round one for the Storks. Oh, I know map to 3D, I do that all the time. Control F11 works in all views as well. It will just go into free look from any perspective. He's sitting there and he's just thinking, oh, there, and there's the wake turbulence of the F-18. Look at him, he's happy. He's happy after his victory. Okie dokie. Bad news, everyone. You have to look at me now while I get everything restarted and ready for round number 2. Please excuse me as I cough. Because I've been sick for like a billion... I've been sick for a billion years, so you'll excuse me. Kablam. Alright, we'll get everything set up for the next round. This is the perfect time to stand up, get yourself a drink. I just got rated by 2,601 people. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. My name is Airshow. Welcome to SATAC 2025. This is an air-to-air competition in DCS World, a flight simulation game where all of the clicky buttons and flicky switches all manually modeled and operated. My name is Airshow. I am the talking airplane. Please keep in mind that there is a little bit of a stream delay. Today we're watching the teams of Storks and 9G face off. An excellent competition that has involved some of the best pilots in the world. Show something cool. What about a lineup of cool fighter jets? Ladies and gentlemen, Halo Sweetie is probably one of the best content creators in terms of ASMR and singing of just about anyone I've ever met. So, I'm going to shout out Halo. You never knew there were these kinds of games? Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing your community with mine. But here we have Sochi Adler Airport as this team of 6 prepares their jets to engage in air-to-air combat. Both of these teams are from Eastern Europe and Russia, so they know each other and they have a lot to prove. It's 3 F-16s facing off against... it's 3 F-16s and 3 F-18s being flown by SFSR, Psycho, Sonts, Krim, ESOL, and Sonar over on the blue team at Sochi Airport. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have Yarkaz, Velike, Hanslaw, Grey Goo, and Dev all lined up in their shiny, shiny, shiny planes. Thank you very much for the follows, guys. If you're here from Halo's community, I hope that you had all kinds of nice noises in your ears, and hopefully that will keep you at least a little bit braced for the sound of fighter jets roaring around the place. She loves my voice. I love her voice. It's the funniest thing. It's because Halo has one of the softest and nicest sounding ASMR voices of just about anyone I've met. And then you listen to her music, and you're like, oh my god, she can also belt out, like, the best tune that you've heard out of just anyone. And why is Cert on blue? Let's see. Thank you, OG Alex, Cantiago, Sleepy Guard, everyone. And I think Cert was on the wrong team. Wanted to join in with the other members. There we go, there's Cert, and he's bringing in a J11 as well. Hello. The big boy comes out. The J11 being a Chinese modification, and I don't know if it's license built. I think it is license built. I think maybe the Russians supply the engines. Version of the Su-27, and of course, I am an Su-27, so I may be a little bit biased, but I mean, it's got a nice silhouette. You can tell me you think it looks pretty. Don't mind me, you go pee from shyness, that's okay. The limitations, for those of you who might be familiar with fighter jets, is there is a maximum of 4 Fox 3 missiles. So, you see these bad boys on the wings here? This is the AIM 120. The special thing about these missiles is that they have their own radars inside the nose. So they're not heat-seeking, they're radar-seeking, and they carry their own radar with them. This big missile that you can see attached to the fuselage is called an AIM 7 Sparrow. It can detect radar, but it does not carry radar, so it requires information to be sent to it from the plane that's firing the missile, as opposed to these AIM 120s, where if they lose information from the plane, they can use their onboard radars to seek and destroy. Meanwhile, on the wingtips, all of you will recognize the venerable AIM 9 heat-seeking missile. The J11 gets a slightly different loadout. The F-16s and the F-18s are carrying the same thing, but the J11, in fact, is bringing along a few additional things. This pod on the wingtip. This is an ECM pod, electronic countermeasures. You can either have these pods or you can have these R-73 heat-seeking missiles, which are very capable. Then these are uniquely Su-27 and J-11 weapon, and also the MiG-29, the R-27ET, an extended-range heat-seeking missile, which can guide itself and does not count towards the radar-guided missiles. Meanwhile, on the belly, we have 4 Chinese SD-10s, which have active radar seeking and homing. It looks like the members of the Storks are lining up and getting ready to go. You do not recommend using a Fox 2 around Halo, sweetie? If I wanted to take out Halo, sweetie, I would use a Fox 1 because... Oh no, fuck. No, I fucked up the joke. No, Riz, never mind. You were making the joke that I was trying to make, and I was trying to make your joke but louder. No, a Fox 2 would work perfectly against Halo. She's the hottest thing around. So, SFSR, ESOL, SONS, Crim, Psycho, and Sonar are getting lined up and ready to go as round 2 gets looked straight down the barrel of. Both teams supported by AWACS aircrafts, in this instance the Boeing E-3 Sentry. And that thing on the top isn't just for cooking pizzas, it's also for detecting hostile enemy aircraft. And it looks like the members of the Storks are ready to go, and it looks like 9G is waiting to get set. I really like this missile, this extended range heat seeker, because of course, for those of you who have watched movies about aeroplanes and stuff like that, you might know that there's different kinds of countermeasures. There's flares, which beat heat-seeking missiles, and there's chaff, which help in defeating radar-seeking missiles. Radar-seeking missiles give you a warning when you're locked onto by either the missile's radar or by the plane's radar. But heat-seeking missiles give no warning at all. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. If you're curious about me as a content creator, when I'm not doing events like this, I play this game myself too. It's a flight simulator where you can get inside the cockpit of many aircraft, like the F-18s and the F-16s here, and you can click and flick and slap around all of the buttons and controls and theoretically have some experience of what actually flying an aircraft is like. Of course, that's like saying I've watched every season of House and I know how to do medicine. But you know, some of us can't pass the Air Force's physical exams, so we have to play pretend. These are all players. It is 6 versus 6. Looks like Crim and Sonar are taking off now. Now let's do a quick poll to see who you're here to support in round 2. Will it be 9G or will it be Storks? I'll run it for 10 minutes. Now I've delayed the ads for as long as I can, guys, so the takeoffs have just happened now. We can see everyone in the air, and I need to run these ads so they won't interrupt the actual fighting portion, alright? So sorry about that. They can be avoided by having Twitch Turbo or by subscribing to me or any other myriad of ways. This ensures that you don't get slapped with an ad break in the middle of all of the action. This J11 looks so gorgeous. And meanwhile, Hanslau, the last and loneliest for 9G, come on, Hanslau. They need you. And Hanslau takes off the last member of 9G. One of the ways, for those of you who are watching for the first time, we keep track of all of the flight data that's happening in amongst these competitions, is we use some software called SATAC, which provides us with live real-time telemetry data for all of the players as they take off and prepare for the fight. Also means that I can rewind and play back the flight in real time, so you will absolutely not miss anything. And we can see the formations separating up. Looks like we have 3 members of the Storks heading through the middle route and 3 heading south. Meanwhile, on the red team, looks like 9G is focusing on the north. So keep in mind, guys, and this is the crazy part of all of this. Keep in mind that behind each of these planes, there's a player sitting somewhere with their joystick or their head tracking software on, or maybe they're wearing VR headsets. They have all of the controls bound just like you would in the real jet, with dozens of buttons on the sticks and joysticks, and there's a huge amount of complexity and knowledge that goes into operating these aircraft. I know that we like to pretend that, you know, ooh, we're all just playing pretend pilots, but it's not easy. And it's always very exciting to see teams of 6 people who not only can do these sorts of things, but can also do them to a level where they can compete. Now, someone might bring up, for those of you who aren't familiar with DCS, you might hear the term full fidelity and low fidelity models. A full fidelity model is where you can flick all of the switches inside of the cockpit, and it has a full fidelity experience of pressing all the buttons and that sort of thing. Some planes are lower fidelity, like this J11 here, where some of the controls are simplified, but for the most part, the experience of flying and the HOTAS controls, which stands for hands on throttle and stick, are complex enough to simulate the aircraft in a reasonable fashion without having to go through the phenomenal amount of effort to figure out what the toilet flushing button that's hidden behind 16 switches and is classified information that the Russians have never shared with anyone. You know, you win some, you lose some. SATAC is the annual Worlds Tournament. Oh, there are other DCS tournaments. There are loads of competitions within the scene, but, you know, I'm not going to be not biased. I'm hosting this one at the moment, and I would say that that makes this one the best. But I may have an ulterior motive. As the drop tanks go off the planes... So, the objective. The teams have to attempt to occupy this central circle, this central green circle, for 5 minutes uncontested. However, seeing as everyone has entered the circle, the battle area is contested, and they have to eliminate the hostile players and attempt to take control of the battle area. Almost always just means it's last man standing. Looks like CERT is progressing quite high at 41,000 feet towards SFSR. The range is currently 73 nautical miles. The locking distance at which J11 can get a radar lock on a hostile aircraft depends, but can be anywhere up to maybe 50, 60 nautical miles on a good day, more likely 40. There's a lot about air pressure that plays into this as well. You have to keep in mind the way that air works, that closer to the ground, air is more dense, and higher up, air is less dense. So when you're at high altitudes, because there's less oxygen to burn, you use less fuel when you're going through systems like afterburning. So he might be laying on his afterburners here, he might be thinking he's going to use up all his fuel, but he's at high altitude, so he's not using very much. The low pressure and density of the air also means that the missiles encounter less drag as they fly. This means that the higher up you are, the longer range the missile you have is. Not only that, but the missile also inherits the speed characteristics of your plane when you launch. So if you are simultaneously at high altitude, traveling very fast, and hopefully aiming the missile up a little bit to shoot it into the thin air, then you can impart a massive amount of speed. And a missile that might only on its own be able to travel 8 nautical miles may be able to cross the distance to go all the way to 41 nautical miles. The longest range kill I've seen in SATAC so far has been 100 nautical miles, as the first SD-10 comes off the rails from CERT. Looks like it's a 37 nautical mile shot towards Psycho in the F-16, who fires in return. Now they're going to have to attempt to defend against these missiles. There are a number of ways that you can do it, including using countermeasures. But for the most part, it all centers around defeating the kinematics of the missile. And you can see now they're both diving down into thicker air to try and get the speed to bleed away from the missiles that they fired. Now you might see that CERT has turned so far away that his radar won't be seeing Psycho anymore. But this missile, this SD-10, has a radar in the nose, and if it manages to see him, it will lock itself, just like it did then, and it will follow the target. So this missile is now fully independent and requires no guidance. It is controlling itself. So Psycho is diving down and defending hard to try and defeat this missile kinematically. And it looks like it may have been successful, as the SD-10 is down to 1,000 knots. And you can see just off the tip of the missile its target, which is already going too fast for it to catch up. So, 2 missiles fired, no connections so far. This southern group, including Sonar, Sonce, and ESOL, are looking like they're preparing to peel off to fight against Velik, Hanslau, Gregu, and Yarkaz, who are all pretty content, but Hanslau is at 47,000 feet, which is huge, and it looks like the pole is tied up 50-50. Now, did Hanslau just fire something? He did. Hanslau just fired an AIM 120. That's a 30 nautical mile shot, and it might be towards Sons. Now, if Sons doesn't drop altitude here, this missile will get him. But I can guarantee you, as Sons fires off their missile, you can see the ballet begins as Sons ditches every ounce of altitude he can to try and get away. The missiles crisscross in the sky. Not much happening in this northern group. CERT has gone all the way down to 10,000 feet now, which is relatively low. This missile heading towards Sons. Sons now flying just away from it and not feeling the need to drop more altitude because he's traveling very fast. And this missile is going at 900 knots and is just about out of energy. You can see the plane it's looking for, and it just runs out of juice. Does not have the legs to get to where it needs to go. So, Sons manages to defeat that one. Actually, hold on. Yeah, Sons manages to defeat that one. I was worried he was going to fly or turn around and fly into it. SFSR fires off one of their AIM 120s now. They're engaging from really far away. Well, the closer you are to the enemy, the better of a shot you are providing them for their missiles. So a huge part of this is knowing when to keep your distance and when to push. SFSR and Yarkaz are only 10 nautical miles away from each other, and that is pretty deadly close range. Yarkaz is going to have to defend against this missile. But when planes are flying close to the ground, the onboard radar systems on these missiles often gets confused by the terrain. Now, I don't want to say that Top Gun Maverick was right, but, we'll get low, confuse your targeting system, does kind of work-ish. But to get into the specifics of it all would, potentially exceed the usefulness of that knowledge. So we can see the fight developing now. It looks like the members of 9G are getting quite close to being pincered on both sides by the members of the Storks. And everyone's at pretty low altitude except for Hanslau, who's at 20,000 feet. Meanwhile, all three members of Storks, which are approaching now, two of them are at 25,000 feet, and I think, yeah, there's a shot. One of the S-16s belonging to Psycho fires off their second AMRAAM. He's only got two left now. So they'll be firing these missiles at very long ranges, but they have to be careful, because if they run out of these missiles when the fight gets closer range, then they may miss out on a kill that they could get with these extremely powerful missiles. AIM-120s traded in both directions between CERT and Psycho. The SD-10, fired by CERT, splashes itself into the terrain, one of the easiest ways to defeat a missile. CERT going to have to contend with this missile now, though looks like this one's fallen into the terrain, and no impact. CERT gets away. People are getting very close now. In fact, only 5 nautical miles. Missiles traded in both directions. Sonar having to defend against a very close-range missile shot here. Don't tell me it didn't hit. It did hit. Okay. Sonar goes down and it's the first casualty for the Storks. Grey Goo managing to catch him at too high an altitude. So they might be surrounded, but that just means they can fire in any direction they want. This missile goes for the terrain instead of Grey Goo, who is successfully defending so far. The only problem is that 9G runs the risk of getting themselves all caught up in a big furball here. And this is the perfect moment right now for the members of Storks to push really hard. Yarkaz fires at close range towards Sons, who doesn't fire back. This missile has potential. Looks like this one's been spoofed by the terrain. Misses Sons. Esol fires towards Grey Goo and gets one in return. Esol going to have to defend now. Going as close as they can to the terrain, but it's not close enough. The missile impacts. Esol gets splashed by an AIM-120, and now Sons has got their own to deal with. Sons gets splashed as well, and the southern flank of the fight gets cleaned up as we see another member of the Storks. Looks like they crashed into terrain, but we'll see what happens between Velike and Psycho, as they are right next to each other here. Psycho with a little touch of desync here, and only one AIM-9 left. The AIM-120 fight at Velike does not connect. He fires off the Sidewinder. It's a heat-seeking missile. It starts chasing down its prey. But is it within range? You can see it chasing him. It's getting close. He dodges it just by centimeters. Which means that there's only the gun left now. The F-16 pulls out in front. The Hornet managing to get behind him. This dogfight switches sides and AIM-9 comes off the rails. Flares go out, but they don't work. And the missile finds its target, meaning that Krim is the last one left. With only Sparrows and AIM-9s left to go, he's got 4 missiles and 4 people he needs to shoot down. Cert progresses in, fires an SD-10 at close range. This missile with a lot of potential to kill and will only be able to be defeated by terrain, but it looks like the F-18 decided to introduce themselves to the terrain. And it looks like 9G have successfully cleaned up the operation here. Of course, a SATAC match isn't over until one of the teams can actually get one of their airframes home and safe. An excellent display of flying there, I think, for all involved. Now, let's have a look at what we missed. So the first shots, not much connection in any direction. But the first one to go down, Sonar here. Sonar and Grey Goo. I reckon there was a little bit of directional confusion here, just because Sonar, I suspect, was probably having a look at one of these 3 targets over here. But Grey Goo was the most prescient target, managing to get all the way up to 4 nautical miles, 4.5 nautical miles, before firing at Sonar, who knows instantly that they're in trouble, but unfortunately does not manage to get behind the terrain quick enough and goes down. Now the next one I think I missed was SFSR. That's right. SFSR, who shot at you? Looks like it was Dev over here, from 8 nautical miles away, just dipping up to high altitude here. Very unlucky to have had not defeated this missile. You see, notching missiles is all well and good, but once the missile gets to here, the notch isn't going in this direction, the notch is going in further to the right. Unlucky. I wonder if that was that missile originally fired at SFSR? Or was it fired at Psycho and SFSR just caught it? I think it was at SFSR, but even still. Okie dokie. What else did we miss? Anyone got any requests to have a closer look at something? Let's just catch up with what Psycho got up to here. Because that was an exciting merge. with Velik. But he was... Let's see what happened here. So, the AIM-9 gets within centimeters of Velik. 260 feet, 220 feet, 155 feet, 150 feet. It is as close as it got, and gave up. At this point, he's traveling at Mach 1.1, which is way too fast to keep up with Velik's turn, which he slows down way, way, way faster and almost manages to get him with guns here. A narrow dodge. And then the AIM-9 comes off the wings, but does not go for the flares. That was a great little bit of fighting there by everyone. "9G is a very capable and very professional team. I recognize every single one of these names from previous competitions. They have experience, they have great skills, and I can anticipate that they'll go far, but at the same time, the Storks as well, putting out a really good showing against a veteran team. So, who's heading back home? Grey Goo leads the way, with Velik, Hanslau, Sturt, all heading back too. A couple of free souvenirs for the residents of the Caucasus Mountains, just to provide them with a little bit of an incentive to allow us to host SATAC above their airspace. Looks like they've decided to jettison some weapons, so if you live in the towns below, you might get a little surprise in your backyard. Straight from 9G. Hope we eventually get a match on Syria. How do you say things are going? 9G put up a really good fight. Storks did a great job as well, but 9G just came out of this looking deadly, really deadly. Storks put up a great fight, but I think the result was conclusive. Yes, please do have a look at the SATAC Discord. There are also all of the links to SATAC appearing in the chat periodically as well. Let's see, I'll grab those links for you. Here are the SATAC links. Not only that, but if you like my content, you can hit that follow button down below. I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and all over the place at other times too. You can join in on my Discord if you like, a welcoming aviation-centric community. You can follow me on Twitter, Nightbot posted the link. You can subscribe to my YouTube, and you can follow me on Blue Sky. And you know what? If any of you Halo viewers stick around, we've got some post-match interviews and analysis to do. But if you stick around, I'll show off what some of these pilots have been experiencing flying around for you. And there will be more SATAC matches to come. This weekend, there will be 4 more matches, 2 hosted by me, and 2 hosted by 81 Banana. Tomorrow, I'll be casting the match of 45th International, facing off against Chinese Jade Long at 1500 Zulu. 81 Banana will be hosting 104th International versus the 36th Stormo Virtuale and Siga 101 from Italy at 1800 Zulu. On Sunday at 1500 Zulu, I'll do the 179th Dogs from the USA, facing off against ATR and GVAW from Thailand and Indonesia, 1500 Zulu. And then on Sunday at 1800 Zulu, 81 Banana will be hosting ETF, facing off against the 367th MTSO from Russia, South America, and Spain. '45th versus Jade Leung is going to be intense. I agree. I'm excited to cast a match with Jade Leung. I've heard a lot about them. Do I just say Jade Long, or do I pronounce it differently? Now, will he remember to put his wheels down this time? Hey, look. Big improvement. But he's going way too fast. The dogs. But a dog. Dog with a bit of landing. Alright, Grey Goo successfully touches down as all of their comrades start taking the skies. And let me change the score. I don't know what kind of landing pattern this is. It confuses me. It frightens me. It's not safe. There have been some interesting landings. You know, there've been good landings, there've been bad landings. I've had bad landings. I've had good landings. I've had a good landing once. I remember it. And they're putting on a little bit of an air show, dumping out all of their countermeasures for us. Those incredibly expensive and difficult to replace countermeasures. And it goes on the runway. Down it goes. As Cert also makes its way down safely. Yeah, you're not wrong, Spades. And a well-deserved victory by 9G. Let's see if anyone's ready to come and have a yap with me. It was fantastic, 81. I hope that you, I'll make the VOD available so that you guys can, have a quick look. Uh-oh. Are they gonna do the forbidden touch? You see how this Hornet has its tail?
1 second, please, Show.
Absolutely, take your time.
Hello.
Hello.
Скажи, что ты мой переводчик.
Hello, hello.
Hello, I'm translator. I can help Sikh to translate some words from English to Russia.
Okay.
Russian, yeah.
And, well, could firstly everyone introduce themselves, please? Including you, sir?
Псих, представься, пожалуйста.
В каком плане?
Просто представься.
Псих, основатель аистов.
This is Psich. He is our
Icon.
team leader and founder of Storks, Storks team.
And how long have the Storks been flying together? And where did they meet each other?
Как давно аисты летают с друг другом и, ну, с того момента, как они встретились?
Можно я, пожалуйста, поговорю?
Мы год назад появились, и за месяц до SATAC о нем узнали и начали тренироваться.
Да, Кука, давай.
So we met a year ago on a PvE server, and when we heard about SATAC tournament, we decided to prepare for it and try our skills in PvP. So I think we did all right. We could do better, but guys from 9G are very good, and we have a lot to learn from them.
Absolutely. I think you guys flew absolutely fantastically, especially for such a young team. Have you had much time to train and prepare, or is it? Would you like a little bit more before the next match is coming up?
Certainly, we would like to train a little bit more. We have a pretty busy team.
Да, Кука, дай я перейду, пожалуйста.
Мгм.
Псих, он сказал, короче, что мы летаем достаточно неплохо для молодой команды, и было бы здорово, чтобы мы принимали участие в дальнейшем.
Скажи им, что мы очень рады принять участие в SATAC и в холодной войне, и в современной, и в последующие годы, которые будут проводиться он.
He is very glad to participate in this tournament, and he would be, we would be glad to join to the next events like Cold War.
Absolutely. Well, you still have plenty of matches left to go in this competition as well. So we're still in the group stages, so you'll have plenty more chances. And I can't wait to see how you go with the matches to go on, because there's lots and lots of promise here, I think. Sir, from 9G, congratulations on the victory. How's your team feeling?
Thank you.
Как ты ощущаешь, получается, себя?
Я говорю по-русски. Я говорю по-русски.
Это 9G
По-английски.
тут обращается. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay, so yes, hello everyone, and thank you, Storks. Аисты, спасибо вам за такой классный бой. Надеюсь вас увидеть дальше. Well, we are glad that this is. We started this year's SATAC a little bit better than the last ones. We had a similar situation as Storks. We, as 9G, formed a month prior to last year's SATAC, and we also lost our first SATAC match. But then we went on to win the two following matches, and I think that Storks have a bright future in front ahead of them. And if they dedicate time and effort, they will certainly succeed.
And
As for us,
yeah.
we are. We are just happy that our efforts paid off, and we continue to improve day by day, training after training, and we hope to improve even more and hopefully get the first place in this year's SATAC.
Well, you guys managed to come second in the Cold War competition as well, didn't you? How has it been transitioning from the MiG-9, because you flew MiG-29s, didn't you?
Yes, my team did fly MiG-29s,
Yeah.
and 1 or 2 F14s, if I recall correctly. But it wasn't really hard since we started off with 4th gen and Fox 3s. We just had to, kind of adapt a little bit, just slight corrections to our tactics and everything. But we did get a lot of good information and experience from the Cold War tournament. We corrected our modern jet tactics according to results from the Cold War, and it paid off a lot.
It does give you a lot of experience in having to just look more, pay more visual attention when you haven't got data link and all that sort of thing. And then when you finally get data link back, then you suddenly have a whole bunch of more information. You can use it better.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic news. And please congratulate all of your team for it. For the members of Storks, if they have anyone that they would like to shout out or anything that they would like to say, or throw down some trash talk for your next opponents or anything like that, go right ahead. It's all yours.
Oh, I don't believe we have any trash talkers here, but we would like to say our thanks for the organizers and you as a streamer, and for the 9G, because we are very glad that it was our first competitive match against them. They are a great team.
Санна, можешь сказать, перевести?
Ну, если у тебя есть пару слов напоследок, можешь сейчас сказать.
Мы очень будем рады еще раз сразиться с 9G и попытаться встретиться в групповом этапе и дойти до него, и встретиться еще раз с ними, а также проводить с ними скримы и участвовать готовы со следующими участниками уже в боевой готовности хоть час.
Team leader said he would be glad to fight again with 9G and in another next tournaments too.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, please congratulate all of your team members on a really, really fantastic first SATAC match and some fantastic flying. I can't wait to see your next matches.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Oh, look, it's my pleasure. And Cert, same goes for you. Anything you'd like to say? Please, go ahead.
Well, yeah, again, thank you, Storks, Aist, спасибо вам. We are more than glad to schedule some scrims and help you develop your skill further and further. We really hope to see more and more teams kind of emerge from the Eastern bloc of countries. It is always a pleasure to see more and more of our fellow friends start enjoying competitive PvP as we do. And yeah, we are glad that we joined the competitive community PCS, and we will certainly be glad to compete even more in the future.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much for flying with us today, guys, and I look forward for the matches to come. I'll leave you to it now to celebrate and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you
for streaming.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Okay, guys, well, that is the end of today's SATAC match, with 9G cinching the victory in a 2-0. But I think that the members of Storks did an absolutely fantastic job of flying. Normally I would end here, but seeing as we have a lot of visitors from Halo's stream, I was wondering if you guys might like to see what flying is like from the perspective of someone actually flying in DCS. So, if you don't mind, what I'll quickly do is I'll restart my stream so that we can cut off this little VOD here. And then I might just do an hour's worth of flying so that for those of you who've never seen any of this before, you might get a chance just to have a bit of a look at it and see what it looks like, okay? So, what I'll do is I'll go to the ending screen, and then I will end the stream, and I'll start it right back up with no delay so that we can talk live and have a quick hangout, okay? Big love to all of you guys, and I'll see you soon. Make sure you check out all of the sponsors, including Deck Iron Works, Master Arms, servers, and plenty more. I hope that you all have a very lovely weekend, okay?